Do you ever feel alone in your journey in life, whether we're talking spiritually or emotionally, even just physically, living alone or feeling lonely? This is an episode for all of you to recognize that there are more helpers around you, around all of us at all times, and that we are never truly alone. And I want to talk to you today about how to utilize this support system, how to come in contact with your support system and understand who your support system is. So, when we are in the liminal space before we come onto this planet, my belief and my experience through my work is that we have a soul plan, a soul guideline of what we are hoping to experience in our life and what we are hoping we are going to create or evolve or grow through. Um, Obviously, that can change as our time goes on. We have predestined points, but through it all, we have free will. I have talked about this before in other episodes and with other people as well. But as we go through life, some of our experiences are really hard. Either it was a soul choice before we planned, or that free will kicked into action and our plans were a little bit different, and we are modifying our life as we go along. Sometimes when we have these experiences, it feels really lonely. Sometimes on the spiritual journey, it feels really lonely. It's easy to go into a place internally that is dark, where we start feeling like a victim to our life or to our life circumstances. And it's a natural place. So I don't want anyone to feel bad if that's where you find yourself. I've found myself in that place many times in my life. And one of the things that I want to share today is accessing your spirit team so that you have a way to climb out of that deep, dark pit. Because what happens when we find ourselves in a state of victimhood or where we feel like we are suffering at the whims of the world is we stop our life force. We stop activating the energy that we came into this planet with to do good things or to just be who we are in our fullest expression. And so, if there was something that I hope you get out of this episode today, it's how to allow yourself to move out of the paradigm or the belief that you are a victim to your life and that you are alone, because you're not. And it's a heartbreaking place to be, and there is more for you. So, one of the ways that I do this is by really being in contact with my helpers on this path. If you've listened to my episodes in the past, I've really talked a lot about the experiences in my life where I was finding myself in places of victimhood and went through great awakenings around not being alone. So, one of the first aspects of recognizing that we are not alone is finding that quiet place inside of yourself so that you are able to first receive information from those that want to help you in the spirit world. And those that want to help you in the spirit world are vast. There's so many. They range from your angelic helpers to your spirit guides, your spirit team. They range from ancestors and loved ones in the light who want to help you. They are the Holy Spirit. They're your mother, father, God, your source creation. They are your ascended masters and teachers, those beautiful souls that some of us have heard about worldwide that have transcended some of the constraints of the human mind and are leaders of the heart. You have your higher self. Your higher self is one of your greatest teachers. And the way to access your higher self is through your soul, through your heart. And when we start recognizing all of these helpers on the path, then we can really start coming in contact with them. And I just wanted to add a couple of more that I'm just getting that I shouldn't forget about. But our fairy friends, our earth spirits, our galactic friends, our animal totems, our animal friends, and plant friends. So there are just we are inundated as humans on this planet with those that want to support and help us. And so I want you to start thinking about ways that you may have already been in contact and already felt the presence of your helpers around you. With our spirit guides, a lot of people ask me, either in mentorship or in classes or in readings, about how to be closer and more in contact with their spirit guides. And so I want to go back to that space of talking about finding that still quiet place inside so that when they come closer, you can actually feel them because they're around us all the time. But when we're so busy, or we're so caught up in stress and worries, which is normal, or we're so in a state of victimhood, or we're just literally flitting about in our lives, we don't create a space for that initial contact, for that understanding of what the language between you and spirit is, what the language between you and your guides are. And all of these relationships are just that. They're relationships. And so you don't have a best friend overnight. You learn how to build trust with each other. You learn what your common communication styles are. You learn what it feels like to be around each other and why it feels good. And then you choose each other, right? So it's the same with our spirit helpers and our spirit team. So again, the first step is finding that quiet space inside so you can even feel what it feels like to have an open heart and an open energetic space. And then two, you can feel what it feels like when they come closer to you and they start speaking to you in their own way. All of the way that spirit speaks to us is through the language of energy. And energy works through our different clairs. And so when we are speaking to spirit, it takes time to learn this new language if you're not already versed in it. And so that is why building the relationship with spirit is not just about building trust or building commonality or deepening in your love, it's also building in your communication. So you have to make space for it, just like you would be studying Spanish or Chinese or, whatever language that you want to learn. Or if you want to be a massage therapist or an acupuncturist, you dedicate a practice to building those skills. And it's the same with learning how to speak with spirit. You dedicate a practice to building your communication as your relationship grows. So, ways that you can build this communication are really important, and they are so vast. They're as vast as each one of us is unique. And that is the beauty of it. Your spirit guides already know you, they know how unique you are. You already know them. We've just come here on this planet and we had to forget everything, which is mind boggling hard. And yet, if we remembered everything, what would be the point? We wouldn't grow. We'd just be like, oh, yeah, I got this. So they already know you and who you are and your nuances. And your job is to learn what your nuances are yourself, as well as how you can communicate through your heart space and your energy with them. So, different ways that you can do this, like I just said, are vast. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a list of different ways that you can do this. Obviously, but my favorite way is meditation. I love meditating and quieting my mind and really landing in the presence of my own energetic spiritual self. When I do that, I soften my energy and I'm then able to receive energy as it comes in. The energy of spirit, the language of spirit is so subtle 90% of the times. 10% of the time, they're going to be yelling at you, pushing things off a table, touching into your solar plexus or your heart space or on your shoulder as a reminder of something very important that they need to share. But usually the language and the communication is so subtle. And I've said it before, it's like a whisper in your heart or a breeze gently kissing your face or like your hair blowing back. That's how soft the language of spirit is. And that is why the practice and that is why the dedication to learning the language is a part of the equation. It shows that you care about tending the garden of spirit. And so you can, if you are not into meditating, that's absolutely fine. I think someday you might be, but There is a woman on Instagram that I love, and all of a sudden I can't remember her name, and I'm going to put it in my show notes when I remember it because she's amazing. And she has something where she just has sit and stare time. She gets a creamy cup of coffee or a creamy cup of tea, and she sits at her favorite chair and she just stares out the window. And it allows her mind to slow down. It allows her body to become present and know that it's safe. And she has done this as a ritual every single morning. And this ritual might be 10 minutes for her, it might be 30 minutes, but she calls it sit and stare time. And it just allows her to be present in the moment and to let go of the thoughts in her mind. But she might be watching the birds, or she might be watching the snowfall, or she might be watching the cars go by on the street. And she gets into this zone, into this place where then she might feel inspired, or she might feel closer to her God, or she might feel the whisper of spirit speaking to her soul. Another thing that is a beautiful practice that I love as well is to get centered in my chair, get centered in my space, close my eyes, make an offering or a prayer of love to Source or to the Holy Spirit, to the Great Spirit. And I ask for my guides. I ask for any ascended masters who want to help me with whatever I need help with in my life at this time. And I take out one of my oracle decks and I just pull one card or I pull two cards, and it gives me inspiration to focus on in a few moments of quiet. So, say I pick a card that is about solitude, and I just focus on what that means for me. Maybe I'll write in my journal about it. Maybe I'll imagine myself in a meditative state. Maybe I will take myself on a 30-minute walk where I'm just in my own energy. And I take that message from spirit of solitude and I experience what that means. And in that message, and then in my response to that message, I am building a communication with spirit. Okay. Um, there's another thing that I think can be extremely powerful for people if you have a hard time meditating, because some people do, is when you first wake up in the morning or when you're falling asleep at night, to take out your journal and to just ask spirit to share any information that they want to share with you. And you just start writing and you don't filter it. And it might be Dear Erika, or it might be Beautiful Child of God, whatever you start with, but you let spirit inspire whatever you write. And all of these things become practices then, a time where you build your relationship with your guides. And it opens up the doorway for communication. And when you do that, you're showing spirit, you're showing your spirit team that you are looking for their guidance, that you are looking for their help so that you can live your best life on this planet at this time. I love working with my spirit guides, and the more I work with them, the stronger and closer I can feel them or hear them or receive guidance or support. Or even there are times where I can literally feel like on my shoulders, like someone gently saying, go over here and sit down and find quiet space. We want to talk to you. And I guarantee all of you that if you take the time to develop your relationship with spirit, spirit will show up for you. They want to help you. You made a plan with them before you came to this planet. You made a plan. I'm going to be doing these things. Some things might go wrong. And your guides are like, we are going to be here for you. Don't forget to call on us. Don't forget to ask for our help. We want to support you. You are not getting in their way. Their job while you are on this planet is supporting your highest growth. Because remember, the ripple effect of love and growth is real. When I was living my life before my awakening, before I really understood what I was doing here, I lived in a state of imbalance. I lived in a state of either resistance or fighting for power. And everyone around me felt that. Maybe they didn't feel safe around me. Maybe they did feel safe around me. But when I stepped into my soul, when I stepped into my heart center, I guarantee that everyone around me that was close to me felt the benefit of me in a deep space of love, a deep space of love for myself and for the world. And so the ripple effect is real. Your guides are here for you on this planet at this time so that you can live your best life for you. Because when you do that, when you love deeply yourself, it opens up to the world, and the world feels that experience too. So it is not a selfish path. Um, I want to talk about your angels. There are so many things about angels that I love and blow my mind, and so many things about angels I have no idea about. It is a mystery and magic to me. But what I do know is what I'm going to share with you is that there are angels that are here in the purpose of divine love, divine intervention, that are so close to source love that they are here and they wait for us to call on them to help. Now, the way that they help might be different than what we as humans want, what our mind wants, but they are waiting for us to call on them for help because they are pure source love. And usually, when we call on an angel for help, it's because we are desperate or desolate and we have lost love in some way, shape, or form, or hope. And the angels want to come in and literally wrap their loving energy around you and hold you and remind you where you come from, who you are in your most true nature, which is a drop of divinity, which is love, but that you chose this life to learn and grow, that you chose this life. Yeah. And sometimes we are going to suffer and it is going to be brutal, but they are here to wrap us up in love when we feel lonely, when we feel scared, when we feel like we've hit rock bottom. They are a source to call on that can, like a droplet of water, move through your body and warm your soul. So we have different types of angels. I pray to the guardian angels all the time. I work with Archangel Metatron all the time in transformation, Archangel Michael in protection. And I have been assisted by Archangel Michael in more ways that I could even remember. Archangel Gabriel and communication and joy and love, and Archangel Uriel, I speak with her frequently about levity and grace and remembering magic. We have these angels. There's so many angels, and you're going to be drawn in different ways to different ones, but they are in the Bible. They are in the Torah. They are in ancient Islamic texts. They are in Celtic and Druid lore. They are in all sorts of dogmatic to storytelling language around the planet. Angels are real. They are around us and they're here to remind us of our divinity and to help us intercede in miracles when they can, when it's appropriate for your life plan, and they can, they will. We also have guardian angels, and I have been praying to my guardian angels every day since I can remember, and they have done so many, so many miraculous things in my life that I'm grateful for. And guardian angels are, they're like your source of divinity that work alongside your spirit guides. I consider them a part of my spirit team. But there's so many beautiful ways that you can be in contact with your guardian angels. And the first thing that I like to do to be in touch with my guardian angels is in gratitude. I thank them for being present in my life. I give praise for their divinity, which reminds me of mine. I receive their help with open arms and an open heart. And I ask for their blessings in my life, whether it's praying for safety for my children or for the world or for peace. Their energy is from source love itself. And they have never lived as spirit guides. They are angelic beings purely of divine light, and not having lived on this planet, except for maybe Archangel Metatron, which that's a whole nother story, but they are literally the bringers of divinity. And they are here to remind you of your divine source and where you come from. And when the going gets so tough and so hard, Call on them to show you how beautiful you are. Call on them to see yourself through their eyes. Call on them and ask for peace in your heart, or to see a situation in a more enlightened way. Because often we ask for things, and we ask for things with our mind. We ask for things in a linear way, or we ask for things in a way of control. And when you call on your angels for help, ask for it in a way of, show me the highest outcome that I can have in this situation. Show me how my heart can heal so I can embrace this situation with more love. Show me how I can surrender to the present moment so that I may have peace. Okay. I want to talk to you about the helper that you have inside, and that's your higher self. And the way to access your higher self, the higher self is that which lives in the space of divinity at all times. And we are extensions of that in our present life, right? I'm a soul. I am here living this human life. But to access your higher self, you access it through your heart space. And your higher self can give you wisdom and share information. Usually I experience it through claircognizance, just through a knowing, maybe a knowing that wasn't there a little bit earlier, but I found a space of peace, and then a knowing comes in. It can also be called your intuition, right? But your higher self and yourself is about using perspective to move through life in a way that grants you presence. When we feel like we are victims in life, or a victim in a circumstance, or let down by someone or something or an experience around us, we allow ourselves to get stagnant and stuck in a space. And then we either try to fight our way out, or we live in a state of regret, or we have such anxiety that we can't move forward. Anxiety, regret, and fight are usually, and not fight always, but fighting upstream, how about that? Are usually guides for us, showing us that we aren't being present, that we're not trusting in the present moment. And if we can surrender to the moment for whatever it is, then usually we can step out of victim. Usually we can find a state of grace that is going to help us have a new perspective in the space that we find ourselves. Nothing is perfect in life, ever. And it's beautiful and blissful when we can cruise along in a state of ease and grace and flow. And that is usually going to last as long as we are in a space where we are able to not need to learn something new. And then sometimes we need to learn something new, and we get jarred out of that state for a little bit. And in that jarring, whether it's a traumatic jarring or a gentle jostling, we always have a choice. We have a choice of how we're going to respond. And from my experience, through my own sometimes painful evolution, I've realized that when I try to fight my way upstream against something being in my reality and being what is here, when I try not to work with something that is present, is when I suffer the most. And so our higher self is also a guide for us, because we can ask our higher self to help us be present in this soul expression, in this life expression that we are having right now, and not trying to escape from it, but trying to look around and find a place of peace in your heart so that you can live through the moment in a place of awareness, acceptance, and surrender. And in doing so, you are going to be able to have your best outcome with clarity versus fighting upstream for something that just isn't possible. I've had to surrender many times in my life, whether it's because of a physical issue that I've had, or because I can't help what other people are doing around me, or something traumatic has happened where it's stopped my life path. And I've had to realize that this is my life and I am going to make it the best life I can. And one of the things that came up for me that has changed my life in surrendering to the present is romanticizing my life romanticizing my life with the way it is right now. And when I do that, it's like I am writing the poetry of my story. I am writing the love story to myself and to my life and to those who are in it. And in that love story, all of a sudden, even if things aren't the way that I thought I wanted them, I am finding the beauty in the way that they are. Now, this doesn't mean that we surrender to things that are wrong or evil, or that we give up the fight in things that we do have a say in, that we can collectively change, that you can uniquely, individually change. Like you get a really big high insurance bill and you're like, what the F is this? Like, this is not right. I'm going to take this to the top. That is different than surrendering to the present of your life because you couldn't go on a big vacation that you wanted to go on and everyone else went on, and you feel bitter about that. You find the joy in the present moment. That's different than saying, I'm not going to care about what's happening around the world. It's surrendering to the moment, saying, I am going to do what I can in my community and in the places I can around the world, but I am not going to feel like a victim to what is happening. Okay, there's a little bit of a difference. If you don't understand that difference, let me know so I can go into it more deeply. And maybe I'll talk slower too. I'm talking really fast today. I don't know why. Um, but so, yeah, there's something about being present and romanticizing your life that is so healing and beautiful, because everything is about perspective, isn't it? Everything can be looked at from so many different angles. And when we're always used to looking at things from one angle, well, it's easy to get pretty bored with that angle, but also it's pretty easy to make a habit out of looking at things from one perspective. And if you want to find beauty in something, or if you want to even have a new inspiration or find the answer to a problem, or to find peace in a relationship, you have to change your normal perspective and literally open your heart to actually what else is happening here in this situation. And the way that I've done that is by looking at my life with rose-colored glasses. And when I do that, it's not looking at my life and pretending that things are different. It's not looking at my life and pretending that everything is perfect or ignoring if people are mean to me. No, that's what boundaries are for. You're out, right? I'm not saying to ever let your boundaries be weak if they need to be strong, or to let people walk over you. I'm saying about the way that you perceive your life is important. If you um, look at your life in a way, it's the rose-colored glasses are helping you find the beauty in things that you have once overlooked, that you in the past would not have cherished or adored. Like, I have this beautiful view out my window. Part of me romanticizing my life is when I wake up in the morning and I stretch my arms and I see the sunrise, I am like alive with joy because I get to see the beautiful sunrise in the morning, and I find the poetry and the softness in that. And that is how I start my day. When I didn't romanticize my life, I might have trudged downstairs half asleep and grabbed coffee and like allowed myself to feel grumpy. But instead, I'm romanticizing my life by whipping open the curtains and saying, what a day. Look at this sunrise. And that sets my heart in a state of openness and responsiveness to other forms of beauty that I see. And if anything, it gives me more energy and strength for fighting the battle of the things that I can make better. Instead of feeling like everything around me sucks, I find the joy when I hear kids laugh when I drop off my youngest son to school. And I hear like little children giggling on the playground and pretending that they're dogs and cats. I romanticize that moment. Like, what a joy it is to hear children laughing with freedom, laughing in their imaginations and being free to play. Like, I'm so glad that I just got to hear that. And I let that beautiful energy carry me through my doctor appointment that I have coming up next, where I'm getting a mammogram and it's going to suck. Right. And then I'm like, wow, I get to have a mammogram. Okay. I'm sounding so Pollyanna. And if anybody's still listening that's like, oh my God, girl, shut up. I'm really sorry. But I'm just trying to give you tools to step out of this place of victimhood, which causes so much stagnation. And again, it is not about acting like everything is perfect, because that is not true. It's accepting the imperfections of things that are and not letting those imperfections stop you from your course of experiencing the good things that are there in life, or the poetry. There's this word in Portuguese. And if any of you Brazilian or Portuguese or people who speak Portuguese around the world want to correct me, I will receive that correction with grace. But saudade. And it's like this longing. And in this longing, you feel this beauty. And sometimes that's what I feel, is like this word saudade, of like feeling the poetry of longing, feeling the poetry of even the hardship sometimes. Um, I don't really know how to describe it. So if any of you can describe it for me, I would love it. But I just resonate with what I imagine that word to mean. Um, so yeah, I wanted to talk about the helpers on the path, and just not forgetting that you have the power to help yourself too, through perspective, not escapism, through perspective. Um, Another thing that I like to share is just the spirit of the land, the ancestors of this land, the teachers of this land, the wisdom keepers and the animals and the rocks and the earth, and how that energy is a grounding force for us as humans, a grounding force for us to remember this other aspect of ourselves, maybe the aspect of ourselves that has lived many, many times on this planet, many incarnations on this planet, and that the earth, our great mother, is a resonance, a frequency, a place of home for all of us. You know, maybe some of us didn't grow up in a loving home. Maybe some of us have deep trauma from our childhood or adulthood or young adulthood. And it's hard to feel safe in our bodies, or it's hard to calm our minds because we never learned how to calm ourselves because our life at home as children was so chaotic. And so, one of the helpers that we have on this planet is the Great Mother, which is your Mother Earth, and the Schumann resonance and the earth frequencies that literally ground our body into a state of safety. That is one of the gifts that Mother Earth provides for every single one of us, directly connecting to our root chakra, directly connecting to the element of safety and home in each one of our bodies and energetic selves. And so to feel that sense of home and to start building a sense of safety in your life, especially for those of us who didn't have that as children, there are things that you can do. And these are not substitutes for therapy. These are not substitutes for, trauma practices. Okay. But these are vibrational things that can help you and assist you. And literally putting your hands in the earth, your feet barefoot in the earth, laying on the ground on a sunny day and just feeling the sun shine on you and the grounding frequencies of the earth holding you is one that I love to do for myself when I don't feel safe, or when I feel chaotic, or when I feel confused and I need my energy to drop and to be held by someone. And I feels like I need that deep mother holding me. Also, crystals hold the frequency of the earth. They come out of the earth. They are the earth, just like we are. And so holding certain grounding crystals can be so helpful for that. um, Plant medicine. And I mean, um, yes, there is like the psychedelic plant medicine. I'm not an expert on that, so I don't want to speak to that. But of the plants, peppermint leaves, lemon balm, you know, gratefully and with gratitude picking herbal plants from the earth and making like a poultice and holding it on your heart space, or drinking teas and talking to the plants, putting your hands in a moving river and just letting the energy of the river wash over you. All of these are gifts and offerings that the Mother Earth wants us to have, like a mother wanting her child to come home and hug her and be loved, and making your child a meal as an offering. It's the same thing. Mother Earth wants us to come home and to be held and to be safe in her embrace, and to use that safety to reset us so that we can go back out into the world in a better place, mentally, physically, spiritually. Finding your safety in the earth is going to be a life-changing experience. I know I talked really fast on this episode. I really felt charged about wanting to bring all of this out. And I felt very supported by my guides for sharing this. And I really wanted to get it out to share with you. And again, just to repeat, it is not about being Pollyanna. It is not about acting like everything is okay if it's not. It's about finding gratitude and presence and perspective in the moments where things aren't okay, just by looking at it from a different angle, so that you're not trapped, in a space that is unsafe and unserving. And then utilizing all of the helpers, the guides, our angels, our archangels, our Mother, Father Spirit, our Holy Spirit, the Great Spirit, Mother Earth, your highest self, to open up and expand and then build that relationship with your spirit team so that you can start counting on it, start recognizing that it's always there for you. And remember, just like any relationship, you have to take the time to create the space so that you can build it. I hope this is a helpful episode, and sending you all just tons and tons of love. Bye-bye.